I started my own debate mate, but in Minecraft. For those of you who don't know, debate mate is where two groups of people sit down and have segments in which they must defend or be against the statement made, despite how much they agree and or disagree with it. So today, I'm joined with both CraftyMasterman and Dijon with the statement, Redstone is better than commands. Crafty is defending the statement, whereas Dijon is against it, and each person has been given a week to prepare for this and will be given 2 3-minute segments to state their points, with the chance for you, the viewer, to decide the winner. As agreed upon before recording, the Crafty would get us started today.
Okay, so I want to clarify my point on what I think is bad and what I think is good here. When we're talking commands, specifically, in my opinion, I think command blocks are doo-doo. Data packs, though, I think data packs are pretty cool, but command blocks, they stink. And Redstone's better. And in terms of what it's better at, I think if we're talking purely of like intuitiveness and making you problem solve in a nice way that doesn't hurt your brain and just feels unfair, I think Redstone's just better at doing that than commands. Because Redstone, if something goes wrong, you can see it go wrong. Command block, something go wrong. I mean, this is probably just me just hating programming as well, but programmer brain is just like, oh, random syntax error. Time to go through the whole thing and figure out what's actually wrong. But yeah, I just feel like Redstone is a much more visual, much more intuitive thing, much more beginner friendly than command blocks. And yeah, I guess that is my opening statement, that Redstone is just intuitive and just easier and more better than command blocks in that sense.
All right, my name's Dijon. I'm a developer and I'm on the side of commands. Frankly, although Redstone is pretty intuitive and it is baked into the game, commands offer significantly more flexibility and complexity compared to Redstone. You can create way more interesting creations with it. You can create things that go outside the bounds of Minecraft, even though commands are literally baked into the game. With command blocks, even though the syntax may be challenging, it is learnable, and you can eventually create something that doesn't even seem Minecrafty. You can create anything to your heart's content. It's also a very, very good lead-in if you ever want to go into actual development. Commands are very, very similar to different programming languages and different styles of programming. Although Redstone might be good for more computer engineering logic and for things like creating ALUs and computers, commands just generally allow you way more freedom in the game and are also fairly easy to use. Once you understand the syntax of them and once you understand how to work and how the intricacies of how the Minecraft-ish programming language works, you can create things like debug messages. You can create things that allow you to identify things that have gone wrong. The Minecraft code base might be fairly different from other more general programming languages, but in general, commands just allow you to do so much more in combination with things like resource packs, in combination with things like servers and even plugins. Commands allow you to alter specific aspects of the game that Redstone doesn't allow you to. Things like attributes, things like specific events in the game when you hit a player, when you place a block, when you open a chest. Commands can detect a lot of that in ways that Redstone can't, or it's much more challenging in Redstone. I do agree that Redstone is a more creative way of solving these problems, but if you just want to create something big and want to create something interesting and really fun, commands are essentially just the easier and more flexible way of doing it. They're also more efficient in game. A lot of people can't run massive Redstone contraptions or need mods to enhance that. Sometimes you need a lot of mods to be able to make very complex Redstone computers. Commands are extremely lag averse, and since they're again baked into the game by Mojang, you can create some incredible things, offer them in data packs, and then allow anyone to use them. In general, I think Redstone is really creative and it's really cool, the problems people are able to solve with Redstone, but if you just want to make something really big and you want to create your project, commands offer a much smaller skill ceiling and also just give you a lot more to play around with.
Okay, so again, like I said this already in my beginning statement, I think data packs are great. I just think that command blocks system itself just feels a lot more outdated. Like nowadays in modern Minecraft, you still have people doing Redstone pretty similarly, honestly, to how people did it way back when. And a lot of older things, if they were built well, still work way back like in the past and also the future. While in command blocks, there's been like the flattening and now recently the whole components thing that they added. Command blocks, I feel like just break across more versions a lot more easily. But also, like I said, it feels outdated. More people nowadays use things like plugins, things like data packs. Command blocks just more so feel like a thing of the past. You know, before data packs, we had the whole one block command videos, if you guys remember that, where you place like a single command block and then you have like a whole thing added to the game. And now data packs are basically that, because they're just way more efficient than just having this random giant command block structure add all these things to your game. Yeah, I do like, and I do agree with you, that commands allow for a more complex manipulation of the game. But I feel like the way command blocks themselves do it is just a very tedious process compared to modern versions of doing it, like data packs or plugins or mods. Whereas Redstone, it's kind of stayed the same. There hasn't been like a full system that has replaced Redstone, in my opinion. Redstone still kind of has its place in the past and the future and the present. So a lot of the ways that people use Redstone and like use their like Redstone thinky brain, it's really timeless, I guess, compared to command blocks. Not to say, of course, that like a lot of the knowledge obviously still transfers. It's just that the methods of which people use commands and stuff like that has changed a lot over the years compared to just command blocks, which a little bit archaic in my opinion nowadays. Like, I don't think in Hypixel or all these big servers you're gonna see like a pile of command blocks lying around. You can correct me if I'm wrong on your next statement if you want. I'm not 100% sure on that. I'm pretty sure you're not gonna find like piles of command blocks in like modern maps. They're gonna be very data pack driven, and yeah. So again, to finish it off, I think command blocks themselves are an outdated way of applying commands and that kind of stuff to Minecraft, but I still think that commands, data packs, that kind of stuff are a very important learning tool in programming stuff, and I'm just saying that Redstone has stayed a lot more consistent across Minecraft's history. Old Redstone can still possibly work in newer versions with like a couple of fixes compared to command blocks that might require complete rewrites. So yes, that is my first argument.
I do agree that command blocks, as just a block and you have them in the game and you power them, is a fairly outdated way of doing these large-scale projects. But at the end of the day, data packs are literally just strings of commands that you could have in command blocks. Data packs are just an extension of the things that you can include in command blocks. If you really think about it, a data pack is just a string of command blocks that are lined out and are ran next to each other. Even though the UI and the idea of a command block that you have to right click and put a command in is fairly outdated, the technology behind them and the things that you can make with them are still astronomical. Redstone, although it's really creative and it's really interesting how people have made them, and even though Redstone does excel in terms of computer engineering, and like I said before, when you're making things like massive displays and ALUs and computing power, Redstone does excel in that, and that's because Redstone is a logical system. It is wires, not gates, and gates, or gates, RAM. You can build those with Redstone. But when you just want to make something like a game, you don't immediately start coding in assembly and in ones and zeros and in logic. If you want to make something that is genuinely large and is just a big project that you're thinking of, you will naturally go to more advanced programming. And the extension to that for Redstone is command blocks. It's kind of like a pipeline in that Redstone is the bottom layer of computing, going in with actual wires turning on, ones, zeros, and gates, like I said before. And command blocks are an extension of that. It's the idea that you can use this power to run already created functions, already created programs that you've developed. Data packs are then another extension out of that, just having an easy way to list out the command blocks you want. I may be wrong, but I'm pretty sure a majority of things that are included in data pack that you code in a data pack can be translated into a command block if you're willing to put in all those blocks. I do agree in that if you're running a massive event and you have just a line of command blocks, that isn't a very good idea. But purely in the UI sense, the command blocks can still do everything that you want them to do, and they still give you access to many things in Minecraft that aren't accessible to the normal Redstone player. Redstone, in a way, if you think about it, everything that you can do in creative mode as a Redstoner, you can theoretically do in survival just by placing down all that Redstone. I could be completely wrong with that, but from the looks of it, it just seems like Redstone is a game element inside of Minecraft that you can build with. Command blocks allow you to actually edit the game further than you're meant to and create even more enticing, engaging, and more fun projects that you want to impact. Although the UI may be wrong in that the blocks are very difficult to use and you have to right click them and write commands and everything, the technology and power that they do have and that they allow you to have far exceeds the negatives.
As both people have agreed they have more to say, each person has been given a final 2 minutes to defend their point.
Okay, so the first thing I want to tackle is your point of how you think people build with Redstone. You said it's very ones and zeros, and that command blocks, you can have like predetermined like functions. That's kind of what you said, right? I kind of want to say that's not really how a lot of Redstoners build Redstone. They don't really think of it in binary bits of ones and zeros. A lot of Redstoners, well, I don't really know. Well, yeah, no, because I think a lot of who use command blocks also use things like world edit and schematics and stuff like that. Redstoners, like, they definitely have like a bunch of pre-built circuits that they do put together. It's not as like binary ones and zeros as you think. Like a lot of my redstone projects, I use a lot of circuits that I've used in older builds, and I just like start off with like a big block of working circuit or whatever and just modify it whatever new goal I want to make. Like example, like a lot of my giant piston creations, the vertical one specifically, I made a giant shulker box before. I literally just took that and then slightly modified it to make a piston. I didn't have to make everything, again, ones and zeros from scratch. My second point, you say that you could technically translate all your data packs and stuff to command blocks. Again, I want to reiterate that I do think commands are good, like in the forms of data packs. Specifically, I'm arguing that command blocks are kind of outdated and not really as useful as they once were. Like the question is, why would you want to translate all your data pack stuff to command blocks in the first place? Doing it in a data pack is just a better way of doing it. I just don't see the purpose of command blocks. Of course, deleting them would be stupid as well. But yeah, what basically I'm saying, Redstoners don't actually do ones and zero bits. They do have predetermined circuits. And yeah, there's like really no point to translate data pack stuff to command blocks, in my opinion.
I do agree, again, that command blocks itself is a fairly outdated topic, but with the debate topic that we have now, the idea of just redstone versus commands, if we're looking at commands as an entire ecosystem of things that you can program, in the end, data packs, command blocks, and commands all encompass that. So even though command blocks are a part of it that are outdated, the idea that data packs and commands are better than redstone in this debate still applies. And I do understand that redstoners don't consider everything ones and zeros, of course, but redstone command blocks and data packs really translate well into real life computer engineering and programming topics. And in real life, we see that computer engineering starts off in those ones and zeros bits, and then just like you said, are formed into components, things like RAM, the CPU, the GPU, the ALU, into registers that are then once again compounded on and built on to build these more advanced programming languages. If you take that philosophy, then command blocks are essentially, and commands as a whole, are an extension of that bit of redstone. Redstoners take these really small circuits, they combine them together, they build on them until they're one formed block, and then build even more on top of them until eventually we've just reached more advanced programming languages. Command blocks to redstone is the same to something as like C or Java or some other programming language to just a CPU. It's a more advanced form of that original concept, and although there is art and beauty and a lot of fun in Redstone and in that original concept, there are still people who build CPUs from scratch because it's fun. The inherent truth is that these programming languages and commands, data packs, command blocks are a far more advanced form of that and offer you so much more flexibility, not only in Minecraft, but also in the projects that you want to do. It is true that command blocks are a fairly outdated topic, but the debate topic here is on commands itself. And as a whole, commands can do so much more than redstone for the average person.
Now that both people have had a fair amount of time to state their arguments, it's down to you, the viewer, to decide the winner. In the pinned comment below, you can find a poll to vote on, which will expire in 2 weeks from this video being uploaded. If you're watching after those 2 weeks or want to share who you voted for, comment below. If you enjoyed this video and would like to know if speedrunning is more entertaining than Minecraft SMPs, be sure to click the video on the screen right now.